My sister texted me yesterday, and they're like buying a house. She has a full-time job. She's a teacher. She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's 9 months pregnant.
My sister's a teacher too. I can't wait for her to get pregnant. She has this like really cute boyfriend. They're moving in together. I can't wait.
Well, this sounds like you're talking about yourself.
I wish.
Yeah.
Nope.
Do you want to be pregnant someday?
I kind of do. I keep letting him come in me. What?
Wait, you could get pregnant like tomorrow.
You
then.
think so? I don't know.
You want a kid right now, Kerryn?
Yeah.
Kerryn.
I think I could have one.
I know you could, but like...
I have a dog.
Kerryn, we
I've
gotta
kept
go
the
to
dog-
break.
I've
Oh
kept
my
the
God,
dog
Dr.
alive.
Ruth is coming in. We'll be right back with Dr. Ruth after this. I cannot wait. Kerryn Feehan, Dr. Ruth. We'll get into all of this. And we're back. It's You Up with Nikki Glaser. I am so very excited for our guest today. I don't even know that I've been this excited for a guest in the history of this show. Dr. Ruth is here with us from her new documentary, Ask Dr. Ruth. You know Dr. Ruth as the world-renowned sex therapist, TV personality, author of over 40 books. Is that true?
True. With Pierre Leho. He's standing right there.
Pierre?
And he wants to retire, if you saw in the documentary. No such luck.
No, Pierre cannot retire. He is your communications manager, correct?
Right.
Director of communications?
Right.
Your
Minister.
right-hand man?
My Minister of Communication.
Minister of Communications. And he can't retire because you won't. And we need to get Dr. Ruth some water. I don't know why that's taking so long. Get this woman anything she wants because she is a national, a world treasure. I cannot tell you how inspiring this movie was to me. I watched it last night. The movie is Ask Dr. Ruth. It's the new Hulu documentary. Premieres Saturday, June 1st on Hulu, and it is in theaters May 3rd. May I recommend going to see it in theaters? It is a beautiful documentary. It's there's animation in it, but it's beautiful, and I cried multiple times, and I just loved it. And how was it for you making this documentary?
Yeah, I like to hear that you cried and you laughed.
I laughed so much.
Ryan White is the filmmaker.
Yes.
He was a brilliant filmmaker. And Rafi Marmor is the producer. And first I said no. Then I watched the films that they have done. Rafi did a film, No Place on Earth. That resonated with me because that's the story of my life. Mm-hmm. That when I was sent out of Nazi Germany, I was fortunate that I was in Switzerland because there was no place on earth for Jews.
Yeah.
And then I watched Ryan's movies, The Keepers.
Oh, yeah.
And all of his movies, The Proposition 8 about gay rights to marry. And I thought, okay, the time has come. I'm now going to be 91.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk about my background, especially to tell people that the Holocaust did happen. Those people who say it didn't happen. And those people who are Holocaust deniers, who said, you know, it didn't happen. And some people say they have Holocaust fatigue. Don't talk about it anymore.
Oh, my God.
And in today's world, with anti-Semitism on the rise and with other issues of human rights, I said I have to do that documentary. And I'm very happy the way it worked out.
I really learned a lot about your experience through... you were an orphan of the Holocaust, is how you describe it. You were a survivor or an orphan of the Holocaust that was sent to an orphanage by your parents. And you say there's an amazing quote in the documentary where you say your parents gave you life twice.
True.
When they brought you into this world.
You read it, you watched it very carefully.
Oh,
because
so
when
beautiful.
I came to this world was once, and when they sent me on a Kindertransport with a group of children to Switzerland, that's how I am alive.
Yes.
That was the other time. And then I wanted to make sure that people know that that was a sacrifice, because if they had not sent me to Switzerland, and if Switzerland hadn't accepted me, I wouldn't be alive. The children who went to Holland, Belgium, and France did not make it.
Right.
And there were 10,000 children who went to England, despite the fact that it was before World War II, and there were very dark clouds on the horizon. So I don't talk about politics.
Right.
Somebody who talks about sex from morning till night
Yes.
has to stay away, except I changed my mind now. I do talk about how upset I am when I see children being separated from their parents, because that's my experience. And I say how upset I am if abortion would become illegal, because then only women with money could obtain an abortion, because they could go to Europe, and the others will resort to abortionists and to coat hangers.
Yeah.
And how upset I am about funding for Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
So there are three issues that, despite the fact that I vote,
Yeah.
since I'm an American citizen, I've voted every election. However, I do not talk about politics. Somebody who talks about orgasms and erections all the time has to stay away from politics.
I learned that from you.
Our president doesn't seem to have a problem.
Yeah.
That you can talk, I don't talk.
Yes, I really do admire that about you, and I'm someone that I talk very openly about sex as well, and I learned a lot from you about having for people to take you seriously about sex. You need to have other boundaries. I mean, I talk very openly about my own sex life. You seem to have not gone that route as much.
Because you are young and I'm old. So you can talk about your sex
But even
life.
when you were young.
But I hope that in your talking about your sex life, that you tell them to use contraception.
Yes.
Say it.
Use contraception.
Okay.
Yes.
And to be careful.
Yes. Be careful.
And hopefully to find a relationship and to get married.
Yeah, that's the tough one. I can't really tell people that.
I
because
knew that first. I looked at her. I looked at her hands first if she's married.
Yeah, same thing over here.
I
We're
already
in trouble,
saw.
Dr. Ruth. How do we land a dude?
So, look,
Yeah.
it's very difficult these days, no question. I'm coming with Pierre, since he can't retire. We are going to publish a new edition of Sex for Dummies for young people like you. And
I have a few dog
Young
walkers.
dummies like us.
Yeah,
And
I'll leave
right.
that book around.
and we are talking about the need for relationships.
Yes.
We are talking about my worry about people being lonely,
Yes.
and my worry about you young people being on your iPhones.
Yep.
It's too much.
Instead of having the talking,
Right, face to face.
instead of the art of conversation being
Absolutely.
cultivated,
Right.
people are going to lose that.
Yep.
Dr. Ruth, you're speaking my language because I think that is I watched your story and I watched your you had two marriages before your the love of your life, but you had great romances in your life, and it just seemed like the courtship that was there, and you describing meeting these men and falling in love, and it just doesn't happen that way anymore. And I'm so frustrated by it because I want that too. I've been saying all I want is to get into a relationship, and we don't have to get married, but can we just have can we fall in love with each other and roll around in the haystacks like you literally did in your in your life? She lost her virginity in a haystack.
Come on.
She rolled around in a haystack. I'm dying for that. I just want to have a bunch of sex with someone, fall in love with them. But these guys are so scared that I want to get of commitment and having their options cut off. Do you think what has it changed? Have they always felt that way? How do I get over that?
Yeah, I tell you something, that things have changed because of the media. People think maybe there's something better out there. It's a big problem. Instead of committing and saying, I'll make the best out of this relationship, they're constantly looking of maybe they're missing something, and which is a pity. And I do believe that the best relationship is one, I'm not even saying marriage, I'm saying about a commitment. And we're seeing these days not only men not being able to commit, but women.
Right.
Yeah.
That is something, a new phenomena.
Right.
That women think also, why should I settle with this guy if there's another one waiting in the wings?
Yeah.
And so we have to talk about that.
Right.
We have to say to people something that you see in the media, in the movies. is fantasy.
Right.
Use it in order to relax, but don't think that life is like that.
Right.
That is the problem. I often get back together with an ex-boyfriend, and I've said this before because I break up with him and then I go date other men and I look back at him and I go, oh, he's the best I can do. So I go back to him because I'm like, is settling such a bad thing? If you find someone that you're like, it's not perfect, we keep breaking up, maybe we should just get married and actually try to work on this thing, because maybe there isn't better out there, and maybe what we have is special and it's not perfect. But when do you decide to hang it up, and when do you decide to go back and actually work?
Yeah, very difficult, because it really needs some insight into your whole psychological makeup in order to know that. And I have nothing against people saying, all right, that ex-boyfriend, let's give another chance.
Yeah.
Sometimes people in a situation like this should actually go for a short period of time to a therapist, to behavior therapist, not psychoanalysis of 3 times a week.
No, a cheap one.
A cheap one, right? Some short behavior therapy to understand, do we want to stay in this relationship, or like the book that I did, should I leave or should I go? Sometimes, on radio, there was a woman that said to me, she's in a relationship for 3 years. They have wonderful sex. They love each other, but she never sees him on weekends. I said, is he working on weekends? No. I said, is he taking care of aging parents on weekends?
Right.
No.
Oh.
I said, is he married? And she said, yes.
Oh.
So on weekends, he's with his family.
Right.
Guess what? I'm not a disc jockey, but I used one song, and I gave the engineer a sign, and that song was, I'm going to wash that man right out of my hair.
Yes.
I asked Ryan, why is that song not in my documentary?
Yes.
I love that song. I'm going to,
Right.
guess what?
What?
It was too expensive.
It's the rights. The rights.
Yes.
They'll get you.
If they had told me, I would have gotten it for them without paying. Come here. I would have promised whoever owns it good sex for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And I would have had that song, but
You
they
would
didn't
have.
tell me.
Right.
I did
She could have
not.
negotiated.
I had nothing to do with the editing, nothing to do with the thing. I'm very happy with the way the film came out.
It's so good.
It is a beautiful film.
It really is.
And it should be seen by people of all ages,
I
no
agree.
question. But if I had been there, that song, I'm going to wash that man right out of my hair, would have been in the film.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah.
That is a great. I think washing a guy out of your hair now is not is unfollowing him, muting him on all the social media, so he's not constantly popping up as a reminder.
Yes.
Maybe you're
What
not
is that
talking to him.
called? What is that called when you sit on the phone and you wait? There's a term for you young people. What's it called?
Purgatory,
Yeah. Sadness.
ghosting.
Ghosting.
Yes, where they
I
just
learned
don't
a
write
new
back.
word, ghosting.
Ghosting,
You sit on the phone, you sit and you wait for.
and you never hear from them again.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't waste your time.
Right. Get up and go.
No, either
Oh,
call him
Oh.
if it's a
Collin.
him.
Right.
I don't care if it's a her.
Yeah. What do you
If
say? Stop ghosting me, buddy.
No, are you interested in continuing the relationship? Yes or no?
Oh.
And if the question is, I don't know, hang up.
Hang on.
What?
Finish.
Yep. Click.
No more ghosting.
Right.
That's a waste of good energy and
Right.
of good time.
So instead of waiting, just be like, call up and be like, "Hey, what's the deal? Are you interested in this? Because I'm not
Right.
going to stare at my phone any longer." And if they go, click.
Right.
Yep.
I love
Right.
that
A
plan.
little
great.
bit of and click. Goodbye.
Because
Yeah.
then you've kind of taken the power back, and you're
Right.
now setting off on a life without
Right.
them. You're choosing.
Right.
Because it hurts to get ghosted.
So
they
my
just drop off.
granddaughter
Yeah.
would be very happy with what I just said, because remember when she called me a feminist?
Yes.
And I first said, no, I'm not a feminist.
Yeah.
And then my daughter and granddaughter convinced me I'm a feminist, but I'm not a radical feminist.
Exactly.
Right.
But I think she would be very happy. You have to get me a
A snippet of that? Yes, we will. We will.
A tape.
We'll get a tape of that for your granddaughter. I loved your granddaughter in the film, and she did get you to admit that you're a feminist, but not a radical feminist.
Right.
And of course, I was siding with your granddaughter, being like, "Yes, you're a feminist. Yes, say it." Because you've done so much extraordinary work that has led the way for me to be able to talk about. Not like before you walked in here, I'm talking about how I can't have an orgasm recently, and it's very frustrating. And we were going into detail about our sex lives, and we're able to do that because
wait.
Yes.
I hope you saw in the documentary how important when I say a woman has to learn first to have an orgasm by herself. If that doesn't work, go and see a sex therapist. Not for 25 sessions.
Right.
Just for 2 or 3 sessions to learn.
To learn.
But don't sit there and suffer for a whole lifetime.
That is exactly what I'm doing now, because I've tried on my own and I'm not getting there. So I've started seeing a sex therapist 2 weeks ago, and it's uncomfortable because you're sitting in a room with a woman who's like, okay, when you talk about that, what is your vagina doing right now? And I'm like, what you want me to describe? I'm like, I'm getting kind of turned on.
Right.
But I've never felt my body before. I feel like so many women just.
So whatever works for you, use it.
Yeah.
And go on from there.
I feel my clit move when I grab my new boyfriend's arms.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a good sign, right? Yeah, I gotta watch.
I hope you tell him.
I do.
You don't
I'm like,
have
my
to
clit's
say,
moving.
You don't have to say it in such
Vulgar
terminology.
term, sorry.
But you can say you really turn
me on. All right,
Yes.
next time I'll get him.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I think that is really
And
important.
then I want you to get married. And then I want you to have children.
Okay. My
I'm
kids are gonna be
old-fashioned
crazy.
and a square.
I
Dr.
love
Ruth says I
that.
can have a baby.
I do want to get married. After seeing Dr. Ruth's story, you can have it all. You
Yeah.
can truly have it all. You can have an amazing career, be so educated, work so hard, have children, have great loves, have great marriage. And you really did prove to me that you could have it all. And I'm wondering, as I watched this, you know, you've paved the way for people like me and so many other women that to talk openly about their bodies. Who paved the way for you? Who did you look to and go, oh, I guess that's okay for me to talk about my sexuality? Where did that come from?
In the movie, you saw that they did the animation beautifully.
So good.
That I'm looking at a book by
Yes.
Van der Velde that was very, very famous at the time. And there were illustrations of sexual intercourse. So that's when I said in the animation, that's when I said, oh, that's what my parents are doing. So I must have been curious even at the age of 10.
Wow.
And that's why I do a lot of the books, because I believe that some parents should bring home a book, put it on the coffee table, leave it there. That's what my son Joel,
Yes.
he said, that I did leave books. I didn't have the talk.
Right.
Yes.
But parents in today's world have to, for you especially, you have to tell your listeners that girls menstruate at an earlier and earlier age these days. We don't know yet why. We don't have any scientifically validated data. Some people say nutrition. But a girl has to know about it. A boy should also know. Otherwise, she gets scared.
So
Right.
scared.
Suddenly, there is blood
Right.
for in her panties
Right.
where blood never came from.
Right.
So the reason for sex education is very clear. Boys and girls have to know about nocturnal emission, about wet dreams, so that they don't get scared.
Oh, I thought
Right.
that's when a guy left in the night. See, I didn't even get that lesson.
That's a nocturnal omission of a person.
So that's why I'm very happy about the documentary, because exactly what you just said, it opens the way for a discussion with whoever is watching.
Yeah, it really
And
does.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
I felt the same. I really do recommend this documentary more than I can. I'm just telling you guys, you need to see it. I feel different today. On the way to work, I was tears streaming down my face on the train, and it wasn't because it was it is. There's moments of this documentary that are tragic and hard to listen to and hard to get through that you need to face because it does involve the Holocaust and it does involve I talked about your story before you came in, and so my listeners now are probably a little up to speed. But it's not only that, but the way that you talk about sex, it really is so inspiring. And I look at young kids and think about if I wouldn't have known about my period and got it. And there are girls every day getting their period being like, what? I'm dying?
Right.
And that's so painful for a young child, and that sends them off on a life of. That's a profound moment. So try to avoid that and get in early. Leave books around. You didn't have the talk with your son. You just left literature around. He got it. And go see this movie. Have your kids see this movie. They'll learn a lot in different ways. There's nothing too grotesque about it that's gonna turn them off or scare them sexually. It's just gonna educate them. I wanted to say about that book that you found, which is one of the greatest moments of the documentary, is that book that you found of your parents, you found when you were 10. That was before you were sent away to an orphanage to save your life when you were 10 and a half, when the Nazis were taking over in Germany. You went from Hamburg to Switzerland. Frankfurt to Switzerland. But your parents laid the foundation for you to have this career by having that book on the shelf, and you were able to trace it back to, they gave me that gift before you didn't know you were never going to see them again, but they were able to give you a gift in that moment as a 10-year-old through a book that you found on a shelf that is responsible for the woman who sits before us in the career that we have all benefited from.
Very nicely said. Very nicely said.
It was such a profound moment.
I wrote it, but she got it.
I loved it. She gets all the credit, but I really was so moved by that.
No, very nicely told. And I really would like very much for everybody to see the documentary, because I really like it very much. I've now seen it, I don't know how many times. I had nothing to do with the editing, so it was a surprise for me.
Oh, that's fun.
How they put it together, and I loved it.
It's one of my favorite films I've seen in a really long time. Certainly one of my favorite documentary films. Beautifully done. It is truly a masterpiece, and so is your life, and I'm so grateful for you, Dr. Ruth.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being
here. What a nice
here.
comedian.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do your commercial.
Thank you so much. There's just no way that your personality is the way it is and you have a huge dick. It's just, they don't go together. They just don't. You are who you are because your dick isn't what you want it to be. And I am who I am because
your vagina's not what you want.
It's not what I want it to be. I don't have an ass.
And that's why we're a great team.
Don't touch me. Ew, you have a wart on your finger.
This one.
Okay.
And by the way, the girl I'm dating called out the wart on my finger because of your video.
Yeah, and she said, have you been putting that inside me at any point? And you said, what?
I was a senior in high school, and I visited my friend at Boston College, and he played football. His older brother. He was this big guy, and he lived with these monster guys that ended up playing the NFL, and they all had dick pumps, penis pumps.
Wait, how did you find out about these penis pumps?
They were talking about them. They were just like, oh, I got a dick pump. Because they got a shower together.
Okay.
And their dicks, a lot of them were like white offensive linemen, and they were competing with.
So they would pump up before they go into the shower for other men?
No. That'd be great. But no, they'd wear the pump into the shower.
When do you
so
pump?
So their dick can breathe. Huh?
When do you pump?
You pump before you get laid. You can pump in the off season when you're not fucking.
Can you pump in the breast pump rooms that are set aside for women in airports?
Yeah.
Can you bring your penis pump in there?
Yeah, you could smoke in there too. So I'd go back to Florida, back to my small town. I was like, I got to get this dick pump because I got college coming and I want to be ready. And I thought I could start all over with a solid piece. So you couldn't go online to buy a pump. You had to go to a store and get a pump. Pump. So I got it. I was all scared because there was only one store that I could think of that would sell the dick pump, and that was Southern Exposure.
Okay.
It was in Fort Pierce on US 1. Might still be there. If you go past a fish bait store, you've gone too far.
Okay.
So I walk in. I'm so fucking nervous. I'm a senior in high school. I'm like, it's on the main road. So I I was worried about people seeing my car. You know, they won't even know that I'm buying a dick pump, but anything you go in that store for.
Oh my God.
So I'm walking in like tiptoeing, you know? And I went like at a time where I thought there'd be less car traffic.
You had your sunglasses on, I'm sure.
Well, that was the last time I wore glasses inside. You know? So I had on my Oakleys, my Croakleys, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Fucking, what were those Oakleys? Whatever. Anyway, so I walk in, I'm all nervous. I find the pump. I'm like, that seems legit. Mm-hmm. And it's $40. It's probably a good one. And then what I did, I got all nervous, and this guy had like those earrings with the big holes. Gauged ears, like tattoo face. Like, this guy's was born in this place. I think he was born in aisle 2. Like, he was a toy at one point that grew into a man.
Yeah, so he's used to people buying pumps. You feel comfortable with him?
No, I don't. I feel like he's judging me because I'm worried how people judge me. So then what I do...
This guy's got gauged ears and with tattoo face.
You would think, but then I bought Magnums. So I'd be like, I said to him, I was like, the Magnums are for me. I'm getting the pump for my little dick friend.
You said that to him?
Yeah. And
you go, I'm getting this for my little dick friend.
Yeah.
But to prove that I actually have a big piece,
yeah,
and that this isn't for me, I'm going to buy Magnums to convince you that these are for me, and this is for my friend.
And I told him this whole speech, and he's
You're
like...
You're buying your friend a pump?
Yeah, because he's got a little dick as a prank.
You said as a prank?
Yeah.
Oh, as a prank is used all the time to excuse behavior. Oh, as a prank. Okay, go on.
So I buy the pump. Oh, by the way, he didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, he's heard this story before. Yeah. I'm not the first little dick man to come in here with a tail.
Yeah.
So I buy the pump. I bring it back to my dad's. I use it once, maybe 3 times. I might have slept with it on for a month. But no, I used my dick pump a few times.
Did it work?
It would give you more blood flow.
What were you pumping for?
Just the gym. No, I was just pumping the pump.
So it wasn't for women. It was for you to just feel pumped up throughout your life.
No. Eventually for women.
To go get coffee, you would just pump.
It's like you lift in the off season in football to get ready for season. I was getting ready for the pussy season.
But I thought that it pumps you up for a couple minutes afterwards. It doesn't like last.
Yeah, but I didn't know that.
You just thought it would make your
There was no
penis
Google
big.
then.
Okay.
I just heard a big lineman say your dick gets jacked and.
So you're just pumping to get ready for freshman year of college when you were gonna get so much pussy and you want to be pumped up.
Yeah.
Got it.
Want to be ready to go.
Yeah.
So I bring it to college and I put it away in my bag, like in the top area, because I don't want anyone to find it.
Sure.
You know, college kids.
Speed this story up a little bit.
Yeah. So I'll speed it up. So I end up using it like maybe once or twice, and I used it. I was going to class. I was late to class. I'm also very lazy because I had to get the pump in because I counted them because I'm OCD. It's 69 pumps. I put it in a drawer. I don't put it away in the bag.
Yeah, you got to get to class. You just threw it in a drawer.
I just threw it in a drawer.
It'll be fine.
God, I still remember like it was yesterday. Like, why did I not take the time? So I put it in the drawer and I go to class, and then after class I go and I smoke like gravity bong hits, and meanwhile my roommate is looking for a lighter in our dorm room, and he goes onto my side, and he opens the drawer to look for a lighter, and he saw a big lighter that came with lotion inside it with sharp things and with a pump handle. So it didn't light the cigarette, so he called a friend. And my friend Aaron called a friend, and then he called a friend, and I swear to God, they called every girl in my freshman class. The prettiest, all the girls I was pumping for were in the off season were in there.
Oh no.
Every hot girl, I'm not kidding, was in a dorm room the size of this room. Walk in, I see my roommate reach for the drawer. I'm like, that's not your side, Seth. It's not your side of the room.
It's not his side.
What are you doing on my side?
Seth, what are you doing?
Seth, go to your side.
Oh no, that's the drawer that I keep my penis pump in. Thank you so much for watching that clip that you just watched. Did you enjoy it? I hope you did. If you did, thumbs up it. Why don't you subscribe? Why don't you just keep watching more videos? Let them play. Share with your friends. Go share on your Instagram story. Go just have a great day.